and I know Beth Chapel, that character takes a lot of grief because she doesn't fight or she's a liability or what have you, but she's not. And she proved that as the season went on. She used her smarts. She used her courage. Not everybody needs to, kick and punch off the bat. And that smart, measured approach becomes more valuable as the season goes on. And it will continue to become more valuable, I think, in season 3 and season 4 as she matures and she gets confidence, and maybe she'll kick a little butt too. Who knows? Yeah. But I mean, her weapon is her brain. That's first and foremost. Not everybody uses their fists as a weapon.
I remember that moment in one of the earlier episodes where Beth was really going face to face with Eclipso, and he grabs her, and she basically said, she was the first one to really fight back.
She was.
And I thought that was really revealing. Number one, she needed a moment where she didn't. I think that they had really set her up to appear weak early on, so that when she grew and developed, that we would really see that.
Right.
So I thought that was important. I'm really looking forward to seeing how your character really works to mentor her. Just like the arrival of Sylvester is probably going to help Courtney to develop as Stargirl. Your arrival, I'm hoping, is going to help her kind of step into that role more fully.
Well, I mean, we'll see, Chris. As the season wrapped up, obviously, I left Blue Valley because my wife Myra is elsewhere, and we've got a son, right?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert at this point.
Yeah.
We've got a 10-year-old son named Stanley, so I got to go take care of him. So that'll be really cool.
That's going to be an interesting side story, really. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a side story, not the main story, but focusing on his actual personal life and not just here I have the goggles. It's not just the hero aspect. You actually see his life, and I think that's really interesting.
I think look, I don't. For me as an actor, my deal was for season 2. So as of right now, who knows if I ever get to come back? I mean, there were a lot of great characters in season 1 that we haven't seen in season 2.
Yeah.
And I think the universe has so many, both on the JSA side and the ISA side, or even beyond and outside that. Again, Jeff has a really complex brain, and he's got 5 or 6 seasons of stories to tell. So, Dr. Mid-Nite or Dr. Mid-Nite may not need to come back, and that's okay, because Beth Chapel has stepped into her own now. She is independent and confident enough, and her parents are on board now. Right. So, I may be in a nice little bow over here. I'm ready to come back and play anytime, believe me. But I don't know if that's necessarily needed as each of these teenage characters mature. I mean, even if you look at Mike's arc, he's matured from day 1 to the end of season 2. He used to just be this sort of smart alecky class clown, but he realizes the depths of his actions have consequences now also.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was just I feel like a big part of you being in, especially the last part of these episodes, is really to help pass the baton to Beth. I think she really spent a lot of the last 2 seasons feeling like she had stolen the goggles, that they weren't really hers. And I think that you kind of coming on the scene and basically saying, you are Dr. Mid-Nite, right? Mm-hmm. That she doesn't have to feel like she's an imposter as that character anymore. So I thought that was really important as far as that transfer.
I think it's ironic, or perhaps a little tip of the hat, or perhaps a little tongue in cheek, that as a character that's blind, it's really interesting for me to say to Beth in many different ways, I see you.
Yeah.
Right? Your parents don't see you. She sat at the losers table in the pilot. She's ostracized. I see you. And how many kids in America and around the world feel that way, and they just need one person to be a champion for them, one person to have their back, one person to believe in them, and then what that confidence can do for that person.
Exactly. I've lived that myself. Growing up as a kid, it's like you don't know who you could really talk to or be friends with or associate with, because you feel like you're by yourself. So I totally get that, and that's what I love about that character. I mean, I've been that kid in the past.
And I think a lot of fans of the show feel that and empathize and can relate to that, you know. And I think in the last couple of years, with COVID being as widespread and as rampant as it is, it's forced a lot of kids. They've lacked that opportunity of social engagement. They're not going to school in person. They're not having sporting events in person or social events, whatever that is, whether they're in the band or theater or what have you. And so friendship has taken on a different dimension now. Yeah. It's weird. We won't know the effects of that for years later, what that's done to people. So again, just, you know, if one person believes in you, that might be enough to keep somebody going.
Well, I think that in the same way, I mean, you brought up the losers table, the fact that really the core group of this new JSA, they're all from that table, right?
Absolutely.
That they end up becoming the saviors of Blue Valley. I mean, that's pretty ironic.
And we the show hasn't really talked about it in depth yet, but why are bullies? Because they're insecure or scared or nervous about something. It's their way of fitting in. And if you look at Cindy Berman's first interaction with Courtney, she tries to make friends with her and then immediately flips and starts picking on her. But maybe that's based on her own insecurity or vulnerability as well, you know?
Yeah, I'm really interested.
We're all just trying to figure out our way in the world when we're teenagers.
We are, and hopefully, if you're lucky, you eventually find out who you are.
Yeah.
Right.